Hey guys, I just came back from Norway and I thought I might show you a few of the things that I bought. I bought some books and I bought some yarn. And I also wanted to show you my possible summer TBR. I'm not gonna be super strict if I stick to it or not, but I thought I might show you some of the books I read and maybe if there are any that you have read or, are also on your summer TBR, it'd be fun to kind of share those. But I thought, I have my little book. I got 4 books. I thought I might show you some of the books that I got while I was in Norway. I went to a bookshop. I only went to one bookshop just because I was trying to not buy so much so it wouldn't make our luggage really heavy. I went to the Arc bookshop, and last time I went, they also had the same sale for like any English books. It's buy one, get the second one 50%, or it's like buy one, get the cheaper one for 50% off. So I bought 4 books. The first one, I really like modern classics, modern penguin classics. And I've been seeing a lot of John Steinbeck, and I've never read anything from John Steinbeck. I might have in school, but wouldn't have remembered. But I thought I might read The Grapes of Wrath. I really like this cover. And then I also got Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I have only read Tress of the Emerald Sea. And so I know there's like this whole, when you want to read into the Cosmere universe, there is like a reading order. And I know Warbreaker is kind of going to be in the beginning of that. So I thought I might as well buy it. I do have the Mistborn series that I also got as UK covers because I really like these. I don't like the US cover for Warbreaker. So I think this is not part of any of the main series, but it is like an in-between book that I think gives context to probably some of the other series. And then these are the books that I really wanted. I really like these covers. This is T. Kingfisher's Paladin's Grace, and I also have the second book, Paladin's Strength. What is this series called? It's Saint of Steel. Okay. And I'm typically not a people on the cover type of person. I usually don't like it when there's people on the cover. The Warbreaker one, I'm like not the biggest fan of this, but again, I prefer this version over the US version. But something about these covers I really like. I think it's probably because of the art style and like the way that they framed it. But I also really like the color choices that they used. But I have the first 2 books, and then if I want to continue reading the books, I'll probably buy these versions online. Those are the 4 books that I bought while I was in Norway. I got yarn. So I guess I went in with a plan, sort of, like kind of like a general plan. But then when I got there, I realized a lot of the yarn is the same price as if I were to buy it online. Some were a little bit more expensive, and then where I buy yarn online, I usually buy it from Wool & Co. and they always have like some kind of discount or like free shipping. So I just didn't think it was worth buying if I could just buy it in the States whenever I'm ready for the project, instead of like, hoarding a bunch of yarn and then it being almost the same price. So I only bought yarn from the brand Sandnes Yarn because that is made in Norway. That was significantly cheaper. I think it was, if you convert it to USD, it was $6 a skein. And then if I bought it online, it was like somewhere like $9, $10, depending on what it was. So, but like it was significant enough that I was like, okay, yeah, this is worth buying. But I'm not going to show you all of it, but I bought the Line yarn. I made the rose top with this in a different color. I wanted to make it in a darker color. This is an After Dark, so I bought 5 of these. And I think I might make it a little bit smaller because I did make it in a medium, but I had a tighter gauge, but it's like just the tiniest bit large. So I am gonna size down on it. I bought the same type because I really like the look of the Marielle blouse, and I was stuck on what color to buy, so I just ended up buying both of them. So this is not the suggested yarn for that pattern, but I saw someone also use the Sunday line for it and it looked really good. So I bought it in pineapple for one, so it's like this yellow color, and I'm gonna pair it with the Tin Silk Mohair. What is this color? The color is 9602. There's no name on it. It's like this pale yellow. So I thought I would pair these two together because I don't have anything really that's like mainly yellow. So I thought it might be cute. And then same line, I bought the Sunday. This one is in marzipan. Camera does not want to focus. Okay, so. And then pairing it again with Tin Silk Mohair with 1015. But yeah, Tin Silk Mohair and then with the Sunday. That's all of the yarn. So I only bought 3 projects worth. That was me holding back a little bit. Yeah, this is a store I went to. Hyman. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. This is a store I ended up going to for one of them. And then I went to Garntopia for the Line. But yeah, that's my little yarn haul and my summer TBR, which don't hold me accountable because I 100% know that I'm not going to finish all of these books in the summer in June, July, August. But, and it's kind of like a weird assortment of books, so we'll see. I thought maybe I could go over the books I don't have physically. There's 2, so I am going to read, hold on, let me pull them up because I want to make sure I'm getting the names, which I know for one of them, I know it's going to be right. But so me and my friend, we were reading Heart the Lover by Lily King. People say that you should also read Writers and Lovers, but we're gonna just read it because it's like a shorter book, and I've heard from some people that it's not super necessary to read Writers and Lovers. So we're just gonna go in it, and you know, if I regret it, that's my decision. The other book we wanted to read, so me and my friend, we grew up together since we were young, and one of the authors that we grew up reading, I guess this might age me a little bit, so there's that, is Sarah Dessen. And I know people now probably read Sarah Dessen books, but like those books were coming out when like I was like in middle school. So, but she actually came out with a book recently, I think. I don't know the whole history of her books now because again, when I when I was done with middle school, in like high school probably, I think I stopped reading it, stopped, you know, keeping up with her. But my friend told me recently that she came out with a book, I think earlier this year. And I think just for like nostalgia's sake, we're going to read it as part of our book club, either this month or next month. But I really loved Sarah Dessen, and I would love to dive back into one of her books just because, like, I don't know, like those books were super cozy. They were definitely like young adult rom-com summer vibes. It made me, when I was young, really wish that I had like a summer job in like a whole new beach town, or I don't know, like I loved reading those books. It made me really wish I had like a really fun summer like that. So I thought, you know, as an adult, it might be fun to read it. What is it called? Change of Plans by Sarah Dessen. I like talked about it for a really long time. Didn't even mention the book name. But yeah, this came out earlier this year. I don't know if she's come out with any books like, you know, recently, but we are planning on reading that as well. And I thought, you know, summer, it'd be fun to relive her writing. And again, I used to love those books. I wish I had kept them just for like nostalgia's sake, but I think I ended up donating them or selling them at a garage sale when I was younger. But big regrets on that. And then my physical pile, well, I might start off with one of the books I bought from Norway, which is Paladin's Grace. I don't know what the vibe of this is, but it feels like it's a kind of like a romance fantasy-ish a little bit maybe. And I thought that might be fun for the summer. Yeah. Ooh, she's a perfumer. Oh, he knits socks? Oh my God. I don't even knit socks. So it looks like, I'm reading the back of it real quick, because again, I try not to read too much about a book because I really like going in super blind. But it seems like it's about a perfumer named Grace, and she is rescued by a handsome paladin who spends his time knitting socks. He works as a bodyguard, and I guess there is some type of, it says there is an assassination attempt gone wrong, and so they are witnesses of it, and I guess we're kind of like following them as they try to figure out who the killer is, and then navigating maybe the situation that they found themselves in. So this seems like a fun, you know, heartwarming book. And then I have The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I really wanted to read this because there's always something about like beauty and conformity that, especially reading it in another perspective of like a different race, that I also experienced when I was younger. Because I think this is about like she wants to have like blonde hair and blue eyes, like to finally fit in. It just feels something that maybe I wish I had read when I was younger, as I was dealing with those feelings of having more, I guess, like European features, and then also being able to conform to beauty standards at that time. But again, the reality that I lived in when I was younger and of a young black girl is going to be completely different. So I'm super interested to see kind of the thought processes of her, but also some of, I guess, I'm assuming she is probably going to experience a lot of racism, a lot of issues with like class and probably like gender as well. So I really want to read this summer, because again, like it just feels like a book that I would really resonate with and then also like learn a lot from. And then another book I want to read, The Jossid Crown. I did finish The Jossid Heir, like 2 weeks ago? She's thick though, like this one is thick. But Sarah Hasham's duology, The Jossid Crown. I think I want to read this because I don't want to forget a lot of the stuff that I read in the first book. And because this is a duology, I feel like it has to pack in a lot of information, a lot of world building, a lot of political building, a lot of character building in kind of like a short amount of time, I would say. And like, although like the book is like very thick, it's like what, 600 something pages, the text is like very large and like the spacing is like pretty large. So like this is, I think I might start this next actually. But yeah, my next book, The Anne of Green Gables. I have been wanting to read this book for a very long time. I watched the Netflix show a few years ago, and I now watch that as kind of like a comfort show, or like I'll put it on if I'm doing something. And I know the show like deviates a lot from the original book because they also cover topics that clearly, like in this time that this was being written, like they don't address. However, the show I feel like they did a pretty good job at incorporating those themes. I thought this might be a really good like summer read. I heard there's like a lot of description of like nature and like scenery, and I don't know, it seems like a really refreshing, cozy read. So I do want to get this started as well. The next book I want to read is Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn. I did finish Legendborn like a few days ago. I listened to some of it on audiobook when I was flying home from Norway. And again, I want to get into the next book pretty soon, just because I want to make sure I have all of that information still fresh in my mind. I really enjoyed the first book, especially like the second half of it, a little bit more than the first. The way that the second book ended, immediately I'm like, I need to start the second book. So I'm glad I bought this before I finished Legendborn, so I just have it. And then the last book on my summer TBR is Abigail by Magda Szabo. I think this is like a story of like a teenager, and I think she ends up like going to some kind of boarding school. I heard someone talking about this, and it felt like a very coming of age story, like a lot of lessons learned, and it feels, I don't know, that whenever a coming of age story like that feels like a summer book to me. I don't know why. This might not even have like those vibes, but it feels like one of those books that will kind of leave like a message of growth, and especially if she's a teenager, just sort of learning more about herself and growing into herself. Don't know much outside of that like she's just like going to boarding school. I don't even know why she's going to boarding school, if it's like a situation, or I think this is set in like World War II actually. So that might be why she is in boarding school. I think this is kind of like a more heartwarming story, but I could be wrong. It could be like not, but we'll see. That's a pretty ambitious summer TBR in my opinion. And I know like it's probably like this is like 3 months worth of reading, might not feel like a lot, but for me, I think this amount might be a lot, plus the 2 that I don't have physically. Because again, I think for me, I read maybe like 2 or 3 books. If I'm like in a really, good reading mood, I might read like 5 books a month, but I feel like 5 is completely max. So let me know what you're reading, what is on your list for the summer, if you even base your reading books or base your reading or your choice of books based off of seasons. Oh yeah, and also like if you have any knitting projects, anything you're working on, I'd love to know. I'm pretty influenced by seeing what other people like make or knit, so I would love to know what you guys are working on. It doesn't even have to be like knitting. It can be literally anything, any crafts, any other fiber arts, things like that. I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done and a lot of gardening done, a lot of knitting, a lot of crocheting. So yeah, thanks for watching today's